In the last days, there has been a lot of controversial arguments on the Nigeria internet space after a popular Nigeria human rights activist and lawyer, Mr. Deji Adeyanju, whom many have regarded as a social media influencer, as a result of how he has comported and paraded himself over time. This young man has over time been maliciously attacking P2B unprovoked, using a lot of disparaging words against P2B. For example, he called P2B a fraud, alleged that P2B invested Anambra State's money in his family business. He also went further to make other malicious claims, saying that in 2022, that P2B offered him money in order to buy his conscience. There are a whole lot of malicious allegations, accusations, and claims that this young man had made over time. And in view of all of this cumulatively, P2B's attorney and counsel went further to sue Deji Adeyanju, demanding a damage of 5 billion naira and asking him to retract all the defamatory statements he has made over time against P2B and delete all of them from the social media and tender an apology. Thereafter, this young man still came out to the social media claiming that he was prepared for P2B, that in fact, that P2B should go ahead and add into the suit against him that he is a political prostitute. Watch the short video clip.
Response isn't yourself now descending to the same space or the same pedestal or the same bottom of that cliff that you're trying to say people should not descend to with the action you're taking already, if you get my drift.
You see, Peter, if Peter does not want to be criticized, he should go back to his house and be eating jollof rice. Anyone who puts himself up for public office must be criticized, must be scrutinized, must be insulted. Anybody who feels too big to be criticized or too big to be insulted, and it is his mentality that his aides and his obedient mob, that is the same mentality they have. That, oh, our candidate cannot be criticized, but Tinubu can be called a drug lord, Atiku can be called a looter, a thief, but our candidate cannot be criticized. Supreme Court judges can be named and shamed. Court of Appeal judges can be intimidated and criticized and even say they should go and lynch their children. You understand? But our candidate, we draw the line when our candidate is involved. So this is the political hypocrisy of these political extremists that we must never allow in our polity. We saw it under the Buharists. They didn't want anybody to criticize or analyze their candidate. And it is the same thing. Mr. Peter was the one that put himself up to be president. If he doesn't want me to criticize, I'm not insulting any obedient, I'm not insulting anybody. It is the man that has put himself up for president. I'm analyzing. I'm saying that, oh, as governor, you did this. You went around churches in this country to go and say church should take back their country. You spoke with Bishop Oyedepo and said that the election is a religious war. Therefore, you are a religious bigot. There's nothing I'm saying that is not in public domain. There's nothing I'm saying, or there's nothing I've said, or the things I've said. The only thing else that I forgot to say is that he's a political prostitute, which I've now added. So you should add it to the suit.
Well, many of you may begin to wonder, what is the rationale behind what Deji Adeyanju is doing currently? There is no other rationale behind that, except if you are not informed in Nigeria. First of all, if you have taken your time to read a book called Why Nation Fails, The Origin of Power, Prosperity and Poverty, a book that is written by James Robinson and Deron, you will understand what is playing out. Yes, many people in Nigeria have over time referred to this lawyer now as a media influencer, as a social media influencer, than a lawyer or an activist that he claimed to be. And if you begin to check his antecedents, as of 2021 and probably early 2022, Deji Adeyanju was still a student. He was not a lawyer then. You know what I mean? So if you begin to take him to be a media influencer, a social media influencer, it may not entirely be far from it, because he doesn't comport himself as a lawyer. He's speaking from both sides of the mouth. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you will begin to ask yourself, what has changed? This is the same young man who was once an ardent supporter of P2B, who claimed that if Tinubu, P2B, and Atiku are on ballot, that he will definitely vote for P2B.
In the country, the government is not just a huge joke. The government, this government is not different from a military regime. If Tinubu is on the ballot, Atiku is on the ballot, Peter Obi is on the ballot, even if, and I don't drink alcohol, I've never drank alcohol in my life, even if, assuming without considering that I'm drunk, I will vote Peter Obi. The national commissioners and INEC politicians take it to the bank. I'm the one, my name is Deji Adeyanju, I'm the one saying it.
At some point, he was also admiring, and cheering up the obedient movement, telling them to continue to do what they know how to do best. But unfortunately, a lot of revelations have been made about this young man, which can categorically confirm to all of us that he is truly not what he claims to be. Probably just a social media influencer who is looking for clout. You know what I mean? I remember some time ago, Nyesom Wike alleged in a video clip, or rather maintained categorically, that this same Deji Adeyanju was begging, lobbying for Wike to help him to become the PDP publicity secretary. You know what I mean? Wike declined. And thereafter, we all can see how much he has hated Nyesom Wike over time and how much he has been attacking Nyesom Wike. Having established that, I would also want you to know that Ike Abonyi, one of the Nigerians' renowned, journalist and a columnist, who is currently the deputy managing director and the deputy editor-in-chief of New Telegraph newspaper. He was previously the director of news in This Day newspaper. This young man had earlier come out to debunk all the allegations Deji Adeyanju had made against P2B, principally saying that P2B offered him money, in order to buy his conscience. This young man also revealed that this Deji Adeyanju was actually lobbying, that he wanted to become a member of House of Representatives for Abuja Municipal Area Council under Labour Party the moment P2B became the flag bearer of Labour Party. Deji Adeyanju never said anything about that. But before then, listen to what Nyesom Wike said.
I saw one young man, they call him Adanju, from Kogi State. He's also part of civil society. This was a young boy who came to me that he went to deputy, he went to National Publicity Secretary of PDP. I said no. Yes, I said no. Yes, I said won't be, and it was not. Yes, I have no regret about it. Then suddenly became a civil society activist. What kind of country are we in? Then you see him to go to a place to say, Wike, you are grabbing now, Ruga. This is the kind of civil society you are talking about. People have no job. You turn to civil society. Now, those who say that the governors should not. You mean as I am, as a governor of a state, take for example as FCT, for example, as a when I was governor, yes. Then talk as a minister of FCT.
So having established that, if you now go further to begin to deduce that this young man, Deji Adeyanju, is also a political jobber, you may not be far from the truth. Yes, because this, renowned journalist and a columnist, Ike Abonyi, maintained categorically in a publication that was also made by Vanguard that he went with Deji Adeyanju to P2B for that very meeting that Deji Adeyanju was referring to, that it lasted for 3 hours. And after 3 hours, they all left, that P2B never offered Deji Adeyanju any money. Until when Deji Adeyanju made that publication that P2B offered him money and he refused. He maintained that he called Deji, and Deji never picked his call. And he decided to make a publication. In that publication, asking Deji Adeyanju, did you later went back to meet P2B for another meeting? Or were you referring to the meeting that all of us went to, that P2B offered you money? It were all lies. You know what I mean? And this man said he started, politicizing and speaking against P2B the moment P2B told him that he invested Anambra State money in his family business. This same, journalist confirmed that it was all lies. That rather, it was Deji Adeyanju who at first started nursing the feelings and the ambition to be a honorable member, a House of Rep member under AMAC, Abuja Municipal Area Council, under Labour Party, the moment P2B became the presidential flag bearer of Labour Party. And hence, the journalist scheduled that meeting between himself and P2B. So, when you see people who came out to counter lies like this, you now begin to understand categorically what we meant when we tell you about state capture. You know what I mean? I don't want to believe that Deji Adeyanju is doing all of these things because he's a Yoruba man, and that he has been bought over by Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu or by APC to begin to campaign against P2B. I don't want to believe that, because he's supposed to be an educated young man, but he's proving otherwise, making all of us believe that he's probably a media influencer and not even a lawyer. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I am not very surprised personally. I expect things like this to even come up more, because I do tell you that APC like shows. All these shows you see, PDP members, they campaign to APC and they are hosting a very big event, a very big party. This is a show to intimidate the opposition. When people are fighting, a lot of people have strategies. Before the actual fight begins, they will try to scare you. Some go shout, some go come out cloth, some go do a lot of things to scare you away. Because they already know that when they get into that fight, that you will defeat them. So out of fear, they want to scare you. You know what I mean? So APC knows that P2B will beat Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu in a free, fair, and credible election. So all these dramas that you're seeing now are part of the whims and caprices of APC. That is what they specialize in. The same thing they told you in 2023, that 4 people were tweeting in a room, and eventually he cleared all of them for their eyes. So it is a very big disappointment that Deji Adeyanju has told this very route, a young man in his prime. I wish that Deji Adeyanju had found time to read the book Why Nation Fails, The Origin of Power, Prosperity and Poverty. He was the same man who at some point was advising Sowore to join the coalition, that is the better way for his voice to be heard. But today he's going, very corrosive, going very malicious against P2B and the entire obedient. The same thing Reno Mokri is doing. A lot of people will still be bought over. But that does not, in any way destroy the ambition of a new Nigeria that we collectively have together. I have traveled across many countries, and I've seen what good governance is all about, what leadership is all about. And that is part of my resolute to support somebody like P2B, whom I am pretty sure to a very large extent that has the mindset, the skill, the potentials, and the credibility to leading Nigeria and Nigerians to the new Nigeria that we are all looking forward to. Well, at this point, I will allow you guys to be the judge. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the comment section, and share this video. My another person, Siam. God bless you.